Welcome back to Lost Louisiana. What's in a Name, Part 4. I'm your host, Charlie Whinham. I'm in the town of Opelousas, Louisiana. It was founded in 1720 and is Louisiana's third oldest city. For 9 months during the Civil War, Opelousas was the capital of Louisiana. The city is comprised of many cultures, each with unique histories. Some of those stories are preserved in local cemeteries, but the spice of life rings throughout Opelousas today because this town is also home to one of the most popular spice companies created by a man named Tony. Opelousas is a cultural gumbo that is home to many famous people, rich historical treasures, and one of the most popular spices ever made. During the late 17th century, French explorers arrived to this area, once occupied by Native Americans, which is how Opelousas got its name.
Probably from the original American native inhabitants, the Opelousas Indians, which means Blackfoot, Blackleg, and linguistically they were part of the Attakapaws. It's how the name is derived. Now, the name itself, Opelousas, probably goes back to, I would say, 1720, 1719. But then when they're talking Opelousas, it could be the Indian tribe and a very nebulous entity.
We begin our story at the St. Landry Church Cemetery with former president of the Louisiana Preservation Alliance, Ed Dubuisson. You grew up in Opelousas.
Yeah.
This was a playground for you.
Well, not a playground exactly. I went to school over here, and we'd walk home after school and always cut through the cemetery. I found it fascinating, all these old tombs.
Ed and his childhood friends would wander around the tombs. Some go back over 200 years.
We tried to find the oldest tomb, and we were always fascinated by the lion and the lamb over here. And I later learned that the lion was my great-great-great-great-grandfather. He was governor of Louisiana, Jacques Dupré.
The former governor is represented by the lion, while his wife has the lamb over her grave. Legend has it the pair did not get along in their later years of marriage, and that only in death would the lion and the lamb sleep beside each other in peace. Another interesting marker looks more like a marble table, and it belongs to a former general in Napoleon's army. He later made Louisiana his home.
It's actually for General Garrigue de Flojac. General Flojac had served in Napoleon's army and gradually made his way down to Louisiana. He was actually shipwrecked at one time, made his way down to Louisiana, and saw the opportunities in the Opelousas area.
James Douget also invited us to take a look at one of the first residences in Opelousas, the Michel Prudhomme House. So this is the oldest house in Opelousas?
There's nothing fancy about it. In fact, I like to tell people that in times of bad weather, when the Prudhommes were raising longhorn cattle, they would actually bring the cattle inside the first floor for protection. When I go upstairs and I look at the little sitting stool made from the horns of the cattle, they were well known for raising longhorn cattle. There's lots of memories in this old house, and I think there might be more than one Prudhomme still walking around from yesteryear.
And bringing yesteryear to life is in the able hands of 84-year-old artist J.A. Allen. J.A. is known for his thousands of sketches of the Opelousas landscape and buildings over the centuries. Many of those St. Landry Parish buildings no longer exist. You really enjoy drawing?
I really, it makes me real happy to sit down and do something that's creative, you know. It's just in my blood.
One of his most popular works is a Cajun coloring book that teaches children French. But thanks to J.A., he gave his hometown an identity that is seen everywhere.
I designed the Opelousas City Seal, and it's been printed probably millions of times. The police department, the sheriff department, the fire department, they all use that seal on their uniforms. So I'm really proud of the Opelousas City Seal, and that's my legacy for the city of Opelousas, Opelousas City Seal.
The city seal is not the only successful branding of Opelousas. Take this hugely popular spice called Tony Chachere's Original Creole Seasoning, known by many simply as Tony's. This spice was created in Opelousas by legendary insurance salesman and recreational chef Tony Chachere. His oldest grandson, Don, now oversees the business.
He loved to cook. That was his passion. That, hunting and fishing and selling. He had a lot of passions. A lot of people don't realize, if you look at the little caricature on the man, it's a caricature of my grandfather, and it's a little small caricature. But what you don't realize is the man behind that caricature is nothing but small. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. He was a big man even at the age of 89. He was a very lovable character because whenever you saw him, he always had a great big grin. And that made him a master salesman. He's in the Equitable Hall of Fame for being one of the best producers for life insurance. He was a great salesman.
The town of Opelousas boasts a laundry list of famous people. Some of the folks that are part of the Opelousas Hall of Fame include Zydeco musicians Clifton Chenier and rockin' Sidney Simeon, cooking legends Enola and Paul Prudhomme, even legendary Jim Bowie, the man who popularized the Bowie knife called Opelousas home. He lived in the area for nearly 20 years. Bowie served as a co-commander of the Texan forces at the Alamo and died at the battle scene along with Davy Crockett at age 39. The story of Opelousas cannot be said in just a matter of minutes. What makes this area special is not simply the diverse cultures or rich history, it is also the scores of residents who strive to discover and preserve these family stories for future generations.
So as you can see, it's still a work in progress, as genealogy is. You're still digging and working, and that's the good part with Opelousas being the third oldest city. We have the graveyards here. We have the courthouse with all the probates. It's
one of the early urban nodes where, this point of European civilization started. And again, we have to look at the topography, the people, the very unique culture we have here. And it's unlike any other place in the United States.
Good night. Good night.
The Tony Chachere product line has grown. What once started with containers of Tony's Creole seasoning has now heated up to feature over 100 items in their latest catalog. You can get everything from turducken to frozen dinners and stuffing. You can even order a Tony Chachere stainless steel smoker.